Hi there folks, and welcome into the Truck King YouTube channel. This is the 2026 Ram 1500, and it happens to be fit with the 5.7 liter HEMI V8. Now, as you probably know, Ram decided to kill the V8, and now they are bringing it back, and we gotta talk about it. So in this video, we'll go for a drive, we'll tell you how the engine feels, how it sounds, because it has a new exhaust now, and then maybe most importantly, was this the right move by Ram, or is this just a massive mistake? Let's dive into all of that right now. The obvious place to start here, folks, is with the engine. So that is a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter V8. It makes 395 horsepower, 410 pound-feet of torque, sent through an 8-speed automatic. And if that sounds familiar, it's because it is. Those are the exact same numbers that this engine made when it went away. So no, Ram didn't go back to the drawing board and redesign it and bring out a whole bunch of new power. This is the same HEMI that it was 2 years ago. They've now just brought it back. One of the differences I have to mention though is it is now paired with a sport-tuned exhaust as standard equipment. So every single HEMI V8 is going to sound like this.
Hey folks, great news. You've seen us pitching giddy-ups before. Well, we ran out last fall. Now we have a whole new supply. These ones right here. Hey, these are the synthetic type. They only come in black in this design. However, these are bargain price, 25 bucks a piece, or we'll sell you a set of 4 for 80. Listen, for anybody that needs a little help getting into their tall trucks or SUVs, giddy-ups can't be beat. So look for the link down below, click it, go right to our website. It's as easy as that. Get these in your truck today.
Just before we go for a drive, I want to talk about towing and payload. And no, the towing numbers aren't massively revised here, but of course for the last model year, there was no HEMI V8 towing number, so now those are released for the 2026 truck. So at the base end with the V8, you're going to be able to tow 8,070 pounds. That is on a 4x4 crew cab tradesman with the short box and a 355 rear end. I should mention there's 3 different rear end axle ratios available, a 321, a 355, and a 392. And the higher numeric value is always going to get you more towing. So in this case, the max tow with the HEMI is 11,440 pounds. That is on a 2-wheel drive crew cab with the 5'7" box and the 392 rear end. And then of course, depending on the configuration, there's a bunch of numbers in between there. But talking about the towing kind of range with the HEMI V8, on the low end, around 8,000 pounds, on the top end, around 11,000 pounds. And now let's check the payload, and for that, I always like to look at the door jam sticker because that's the actual payload number on the truck sitting in front of you. Ram, of course, releases max payload numbers, but those are never really representative of what we get in the real world. So let's look at this door jam sticker. Oof, folks, it's not great. 897 pounds of payload on this truck. Now, this is a limited, and that's the reason. When you go for a limited, a top-end truck, you're getting things like powered running boards, extra screens inside, all the features, big sunroof. So when you add all that weight onto the truck, you have to take it off your payload, and that's how we end up with a half-ton truck here that can only haul 897 pounds. All right, folks, now here we are driving in this 1500 Limited fit with the new HEMI V8. And actually, Dad, I think we got to start, right at the beginning, which is what is a HEMI? It's a term that, we throw out there all the time. Everyone associates with Chrysler and Stellantis now, but I think a lot of people might not even know. So what is a HEMI?
Well, a HEMI is simply short for hemispherical, and that was a engine head design which created better airflow and consequently more power. And it's something that's been around since the 1950s.
Right. Yeah, so it's had a lot of time to sort of enter into the lexicon and people's consciousness. And again, they associate Hemi with all of these, Chrysler brands. And I keep saying Chrysler because that's what it was at the time. I know it's Stellantis today, but I'm just going with Chrysler for the purposes of this one.
Exactly. And it's interesting how you could call it a marketing term, but it's just like certain things enter the language. Chevy small block. Everybody's heard of it. If you say small block without saying Chevy, people will go, oh, you mean a Chevy, because that's where the small block lives. The Coyote, which is the Ford 5-liter. Again, it's certain terms that, you give it enough decades and they just enter the language, so that today when somebody goes, yeah, I got a Hemi, there's no question as to what they're driving or what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do they really understand it? That's something else again. But that's where good marketing comes in.
Sure. And then the next question is, does it matter? From behind the wheel, is it somehow noticeable that it's a Hemi?
No, it's a V8, and if anything, what you're getting mostly associated with it is the sound.
Sure. Yeah, fair enough. So that's it. I don't think these days, especially, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a Hemi that's making it so much better. It is just strictly that marketing term that is so closely associated with this brand. And yeah, why get rid of something that works,
And at the end of the day, that's what we're going to talk a lot about today, is you give the people what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Taking away the Hemi was just really dumb when you still had a pile of people that were ready to plunk down their money for it.
Sure, and let's talk about that, because it is an interesting conversation, and to be a fly on the wall in that boardroom meeting would have been interesting, because of course Ram came along with the Hurricane inline-6 turbocharged engine, and on a piece of paper the Hurricane is better in every way. It's got more power. Even the base output has more power than the V8 does. Mm-hmm. It's getting better fuel economy than the V8 ever did. In every way, it just makes sense, and I think that's how they were sold on it. Hey, look at this sheet paper versus this one. Obviously, we're going to go with this engine. And someone said, well, then get rid of the Hemi. Let's save money. Why are we even building that thing? And then, of course, we all know what happened. The public outcry and uproar was massive, absolutely massive. And then you also have to mention that in the meantime, there was leadership changes at Stellantis. A lot of people were ousted or chose to leave, and they brought in a whole new cast of characters. And it's Tim Kuniskis, the new CEO of Ram. I think we have him to thank, because he got in there and said, guys, this was a mistake. I don't care that the Hurricane is more powerful and sips fuel. It doesn't matter. People wanted the V8, and we need to bring it back. So that's what they've done. And was it a smart idea? I think that straight up, you just have to look at what the other brands are doing. General Motors loves V8s. They have the most V8 options, and they've already committed to a next generation of V8, so we know that's there. Ford, the 5-liter V8 has never gone away. It's not a huge seller for Ford. It's nowhere near the volume engine. They sell way more EcoBoost than they do 5-liter, but the 5-liter has never gone away. So if you just look over the fence, I think that proves that it was a mistake by Ram, and now they're trying to make up for their sins.
If there's one thing that we all understand when it comes to marketing, and more importantly, people's right to purchase, is they want choice. Okay, you gotta have choice. And you said about the 5-liter. Well, Ford was smart, because they put a lot of money, time, and effort into the EcoBoost, and they sell a bazillion of them. But they always still left the 5-liter on the order form, because there's the guy who wants it. But more importantly, I want to feel good about the fact that if I wanted to get it, I could have got it, even though I didn't.
Right.
And this is the huge mistake that happened at Stellantis. And you can't gloss over the fact that there are cultural differences. When you got a whole bunch of Europeans that are trying to run an American company, they don't get it. There are certain things that they are just not going to understand. And one of those is that North Americans love V8s. It's just that simple. And even if we don't buy one, we want to know that we can buy one.
Yeah, correct. So then let's focus back in on the truck. And it's a little silly to talk about how it drives, because again, it's nothing new. But yeah, just tell me, Dad, what do you feel from behind the wheel? What do you like about the engine or not like about the engine? And then we got to talk about this exhaust too.
In the vein of what we were just talking about, you know what? It's same old, which I love. It's great. You know, there's more than enough power here. It delivers it properly. I love the sound of this engine. Ram in general, I've been a fan for a number of years now, not just the styling, but particularly their interiors. Their interiors to me are still one of the best. So all in all, this is a nice package.
Right, and one other thing I think we should talk about, because it's something I say a lot in our videos too, but we don't necessarily dive into it, is sort of the feel of a V8 next to a turbocharged engine. And the word that's always used is linear. This is linear power. And so when I say that, you know, what I mean is in a V8, you put your foot into it and you just feel the power build in this really smooth, predictable fashion. It just keeps going up, 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 more power, 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 power. In the turbocharged engines, and this is the Hurricane 2, you put your foot into it, you feel a little bit of power come on, you kind of wait a beat, and it kind of goes like this, whoosh, and then you get that rush of power. Now, I like the way the turbo feels too, because when that rush of power hits, man, does it ever feel good. But there's still something to be said for that, the smoothness, the predictability of a V8. So there is definitely some of those differences in the way these two are going to drive. But ultimately, I'll just echo what you said. This thing is plenty powerful for towing, hauling, running empty, and this interior is gorgeous. Plus, Ram still has, you know, class exclusive 4-corner air suspension, which I think makes a big difference in the way it rides too. So definitely one of the nicer driving trucks out there for sure, this limited.
There's a big part of the truck buying population which is still leery about turbos. We see it every day in the comments on the channel. And I'm not going to get into the engineering aspect of it, because again, you know what, customers, it's your money, you should get what you want, and there's people who don't want a turbo. They don't. And that's one of the things that the Hemi will give you right off the hop. You know, it's naturally aspirated, and so if you have issues with turbos, then yeah, that's where you're headed.
Right. So why don't you just put your foot into it for a second and let's listen to it. And that's one of the massive reasons right there that they brought the Hemi back too, is because of the way it sounds. And obviously they were focused on that because they've paired this sport exhaust with every single V8 that's going to roll off the line. Now I think there's positive and negative here. The positive is obvious. It sounds good. Man, that's a real nice sounding V8. It's got that sort of low end bass to it that you're just never going to get out of a 6-cylinder. And then on the negative side, it is absolutely a tick louder than the standard exhaust when you're cruising. And that's always sort of the downside of any performance exhaust, is when you want to hear it is when you're accelerating hard. When you don't want to hear it is when you're doing 70 miles an hour on the interstate and you just want the thing to, you know, cruise quietly. So I would say to potential customers, you're going to love it when you put your foot into it. It probably could get a little annoying on a long drive. Would you agree?
Maybe so. On the other hand, I like it because when I'm passing somebody, as I'm roaring by him, that sound alone tells him what an idiot he is.
Because he didn't get a V8.
And he got in my way.
Hey, that matters, man. That absolutely matters. And now, folks, we're actually out here towing with the Hemi V8. This is a limited Longhorn that we're in. And take a look at what we're towing. We got a little red Express behind us. And you know what, Dad? I think that truck is actually really good to sort of illustrate the fact that Chrysler, today Stellantis, has always been a kind of fun brand. They've always done these fun models that really stand out and are not practical, are not utility focused. They're just fun. They just make vehicles fun. And I think we can sort of look at today what's going on and go, yeah, that's part of the whole Hemi V8 thing. Let's make it sound like a rough and tumble V8 and sort of, you know, let customers have their fun with it. So yeah, and it's a beautiful truck back there. It's so cool.
That's fun. That's a 1979 Little Red Express, which came out at the height of the Trucker Mania convoy, BJ and the Bear,
Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah, long before your time.
Oh yeah.
However, you know what? You're absolutely right. Dodge in particular seemed to always be the brand that management would just say to their engineers, yeah, sure, go ahead, go nuts, do something, right? And they came up with a lot of, particularly when you're looking backwards now, iconic vehicles that are highly collectible, like that Little Red Express.
Sure. So yeah, now let's fast forward back up here to 2025, and we got the Hemi, we got the trailer. Let me put my foot into it here. And it feels okay. I will say, we have towed with the Hurricane. It does not feel as powerful as the Hurricane. Maybe that's obvious because the power numbers are not quite there, but I remember towing with that thing and going, whoa, it's crazy powerful. This feels appropriately powerful. It feels like a good match for the truck. It had the torque to get that trailer moving for sure, but I do think it's something customers have to consider. I love the way it sounds, I like the feel, but if you do want outright power, you're probably going to cheat towards the Hurricane. Outside of that, everything else here is really good. We have 4-corner air suspension here in this truck. That's, auto load leveling, so the attitude of the truck is dead flat. I feel it back there, just in, a bit more kind of motion from the road, but I really don't feel like I'm compensating very much in my hands. And then the other thing I noticed right off the bat are the mirrors. These are excellent towing mirrors, and I love that the spot mirrors are also powered. That's something I think everyone should do, and they still don't. So yeah, nice to have fully powered mirrors. That's what I'm feeling over here. What do you feel over there?
What I'm feeling is same old, which is, we're in an unusual position today where normally we're reviewing brand new things and trying to explain to people what they are, how they work, and why they came about. I'm sorry, we're in a Ram with a Hemi.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Most people watching this have experienced that, and if they are going to go out and buy one of these, they want what they've always had. This is a unique situation today.
Yep, that is a fair point. But yeah, now you've sort of heard some of our thoughts on how it tows, and of course you already saw the towing numbers, which are absolutely competitive here for the Hemi. I think the last thing we'll leave you with right here is pricing for these Ram trucks and pricing for this Hemi engine. Well, folks, that is the end of this video, but it's not the end of what you're going to see from this event. So we're actually here at the Chelsea Proving Grounds, which is where Stellantis does all of its vehicle testing here in Michigan. And we have the chance to drive a whole lineup of 2026 Rams today. So this video was just kind of diving into the return of the VA, what we like, what we don't like. And now keep an eye out for the next video, because it's really going to go in depth in a whole bunch of different trim levels and features. But for now, Dad, you know what? We got to wrap this one up, and I'll keep it dead simple. It was an obvious move by Ram to bring this back. It was the right move by Ram to bring this back. I'm happy the Hemi is here, and now we sit back and wait and see if the sales tick up, because no doubt 2024 was a rough sales year at the Ram truck brand, and they're clearly hoping that this is going to change that.
The only thing I want to add is, yeah, they brought it back, but let's not gloss over the fact that Tim Kuniskis left the company. He apparently retired, came back just months later after the Italians went home, and yeah, I feel good about the fact that there's a guy who's running the shop now who gets it. He gets truck culture. He understands what it is that we want. That matters.
Sure. So in that vein too, then it's exciting to see what's coming, because Ram has also announced there's a ton of new product launches coming in the next couple of months. So stay tuned for all that news. And again, make sure you come right back here to the channel to see our next Ram video, where we're going to drive all kinds of 2026 Rams. So let us know what you think down there in the comments. And then yeah, make sure you stay locked right here on Truck King. See ya.
Bye-bye.